Hi everyone, this is Heather Lighten from the Flourish.Academy. I am joined by my good friend and co-host, Marachik.
What's up?
Okay, we're continuing to work through Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. We love this book. Yes.
Can't we say enough about how much we love this? So we're going to jump straight into chapter 7, which is how to make a no-lose decision. And I'm going to pick up straight on page 101. One of the biggest fears that keeps us from moving ahead with our lives is our difficulty in making decisions. For some reason, we feel we should be perfect and forget that we learn through our mistakes. Our need to be perfect and our need to control the outcome of events work together to keep us petrified when we think about making a change or attempting a new challenge.
Yeah, but you skipped over kind of an important point. It says, sometimes I feel like the proverbial donkey between two bales of hay, unable to decide which one I want, and in the meantime, starving to death. Okay, that is funny. That people actually do that. They'll see two good choices, but they won't make either choice, and they'll end up starving to death. But I like that she uses the donkey analogy because a dream of mine is to have a barn with donkeys. So that's kind of an aside, but...
I'm not... Okay. This farm that you're running is no longer interesting to me, okay?
It will
because
be so
there's
fun.
ducks and chickens and donkeys and goats and...
There's no goats, but they're so cute. Okay.
There's snakes.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That's what you get with a homestead.
That's what I get.
Okay,
So,
Anyway, you were talking about the panic over making mistakes, so you do nothing.
And I think we want to control our outcome so bad. Well, sometimes you don't know the outcome until you move forward and make a choice. And listen, if there's two things that are presented to you and you're like, well, which one? If you go with one and it doesn't work out, more than likely you could go to the other then. I mean, it doesn't mean it's like you choose one and you're never going to get offered the other option. I mean,
you could course
correct.
Go back,
all the time. Okay, we're going to move straight to page 107. Opportunities in life are thought of as relating to money, status, and the visible signs of success. I'm asking you to think of opportunity in an entirely different light. The purpose of this book is to help you handle fear in a way that allows you to fulfill your goals in life. Every time you encounter something that forces you to handle it, your self-esteem is raised considerably. You learn to trust that you will survive no matter what happens, and in this way your fears are diminished immeasurably. The knowledge that you can handle anything that comes your way is the key to allowing yourself to take healthy, life-affirming risks.
Healthy. So that means no snakes and no heights, because healthy to me means staying on the ground, away from snakes.
But when we did your boot camp, you made us climb up to that hunting thing, and I was terrified because that ladder is shaky, and I ain't no skinny mini. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mara's gonna break the ladder. I'm gonna fall over. I almost had an anxiety attack going up that thing, but you make us go up there. You're not afraid of that height.
No, I've done that. I've done that one. Yeah.
Okay, see, you can get past it.
I can. Okay, moving on to page 108. I have often said to my students that perhaps the lucky ones in life are those who have been forced to face things in their lives that we all hope we will never have to face. Things such as losing a job, the death of a loved one, divorce, bankruptcy, illness. Once you have handled any of those things, you emerge a much stronger person. I know of a few people who have experienced loss and haven't felt a large measure of pride in themselves at finding a way to make their lives work despite their adversity. They have discovered that security is not having things, it's handling things. Thus, when you can answer all your what ifs with, I can handle it, you can approach all things with a no-lose guarantee, and the fear disappears. Now, the reason I love this is because I tell people all the time, I was lucky that my brother died tragically in a car accident when I was 19. I am lucky to have experienced that because once I handled it, I came out a much stronger person. And I felt like I was given that chance, that luck, that clarity at a very young age at 19. Sometimes people search for that their whole lives, and I got it very, very young. So now listen, your mom passed recently, so you're not there yet. It's too recent, but I can look back on that and say, oh, I was so lucky that that happened for me so young because I came out super strong and confident. Like, wait, if I can handle that, I can survive anything. So instead of fearing things so much that you avoid them, whatever happens to you, even tragedy, lean into it so that you can come out a better and stronger person.
And let me just clarify something. Heather's not saying, she says this all the time about her brother. She's not saying that her brother's death was like not upsetting and sad and tragic to her and she wish it wouldn't have happened. But she's just saying this experience gave her strength and clarity and she is thankful to have had that. Like, I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, you're correct.
Because some people might misinterpret that as like, what? She's happy that her brother's dead?
He was my best friend.
Yeah.
We were very close and it was extremely tragic and heartbreaking. It was devastating for our family. Absolutely devastating. The worst thing that could have ever happened to us happened when we got that phone call. I chose at some point shortly after that to turn it around. I made a conscious decision and an effort to find the good and the joy in that situation and in life. It was not easy. There was a lot of grieving and a lot of tears, and there still are. But it's all in how you view it and approach it. I could have been sad forever. I will be sad forever. But there are some things you can take from that and learn to be a stronger, better person.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Okay. Moving on to page 113. I like this because she says, I must make it clear. Following the concepts here mean that there's no such thing as a wrong decision. That if I had to choose to remain a therapist in the mental health clinic, that choice also would have brought me rich opportunities for experiencing life in a new and different way. There was no right or wrong decision, just different ones. And she was talking about an example from her own life, but I tell people this all the time. It's just a different choice. Mm-hmm. It's not a right or wrong decision. It's a different choice. Certainly we make some better decisions and some poor decisions, but they're just different choices. And she goes on to say, lighten up. We live in a world where most people take themselves and their decisions very seriously. I have news for you. Nothing is that important. Honestly, if as a result of a decision you make, you lose some money, no problem. You learn to deal with losing money. If you lose a lover, no problem. You find another one. If you choose to divorce, no problem. You learn to handle living on your own. If you choose to marry, no problem. You learn to handle a new kind of sharing. You always learn something from everything that's happening. So people need to lighten up and not be dramatic. So after my brother died, if somebody was dramatic in my life, I would be like, well, do you have both your arms and legs? And are you alive? Okay, then you can relax. It's not a big deal. We had a friend recently that was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and had part of his pancreas removed. And that day, my kids were just, my son in particular, impossible. And so I leaned forward and I said to him, let me ask you something. Do you have all of your organs, specifically your pancreas? And he said yes. And I said, then you are fine. If you have your organs, you are fine.
Way to put it in perspective for them.
Yeah.
Continuing on page 113, start thinking about yourself as a lifetime student at a large university. Your curriculum is your total relationship with the world you live in, from the moment you're born to the moment you die. Each experience is a valuable lesson to be learned. If you choose path A, you will learn one set of lessons. If you choose path B, you will learn a different set of lessons. So it's all about learning and growing from those things.
So it's going to be okay, whichever path
you take. Now we're going to move straight to page 119. And Susan says, I trust you can see how it is impossible to make a mistake. Just as each decision is an opportunity to learn, each mistake is also an opportunity to learn, rendering it impossible to make a mistake. After much consideration, I have come to the conclusion that if you haven't made any mistakes lately, you must be doing something wrong or not doing anything at all. Added Mara, not Susan.
Right.
And then on page 120, when you consider that mistakes are an integral part of living, it is amazing how we are taught to think that we must be perfect. This mistake in our thinking has created many fears about being adventurous and trying out new territories. You are not going to succeed in everything you attempt in life. That's guaranteed. In fact, the more you do in life, the more chance there is not to succeed in some things. Look at how rich your life can be, however, from your many adventures. Win or lose, you just keep winning. So I think a couple of things. Tony Robbins, who, you and I both love, he's failed many times and has made mistakes and filed for bankruptcy, but he's so amazing, and look at what he's doing now, inspiring people daily. And then I think about, like authors will write books and books and books, but it's like maybe the 10th book they've written is the one that gets on the bestseller list. The 6th book they've written, I mean, they don't give up. They just keep going, because what I learned from when I wrote this book, I'm going to apply to this book. So, and things aren't going to happen like immediately. Not going to succeed at everything, but there is going to be something that's going to spark and take you to the next
and hopefully
level.
Stick.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually love to learn and try new things, so I'm always learning new skills, and many of them just haven't stuck. Maybe it's a hobby, like I love to decorate cookies, I make jewelry on the side for fun, but those haven't like stuck as something I want to pursue and become excellent at, like I did with photography. But I love that I learned those things. So it doesn't always have to necessarily even have an end game. Like maybe you're just learning and growing and want to do something different.
Like when I took ballet classes.
Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that. That is hilarious.
How could you forget?
You took
about
yes. Okay, I remember you took ballet. This is a couple years ago. You took ballet lessons, and you were going to have a recital, and then something happened.
My back.
That's
my back.
Your first issue with your back.
Yeah, it was like the herniation was very prevalent, but I couldn't point my toes properly or do my leaps.
Oh my gosh. I had your recital in my calendar to go to your ballet recital. And then you said, my recital's off.
It'll happen someday.
That is the funniest, most random thing ever.
Well, I just wanted to do something different, so I took ballet class.
Which I love that about you. Why not? Yeah.
Oh, then I got a leotard and tights. And well, here's a funny story. I digress for 1 second.
Yes.
Okay, so my instructor, who is a girl I knew in high school, I love her, Angela. She's a great teacher. Her young kids, I've photographed them a bunch of times, and I adore them. I make fun of them. They make fun of me. We joke around. Well, one day I wore my leotard and my pink opaque tights, right? And the boy was there. He's, I don't know, like 9 or something, maybe younger than that. But I wore yellow underwear. And the tights were so tight that like you could see through them, and I was wearing granny panties, not some like sexy underwear.
Oh my gosh.
And I bent over. He's like, Mara, I can see your yellow underwear.
Oh my gosh.
So I kept bending over and flashing in my butt, because I'm like, well, you might as well embrace it.
That is hilarious.
So my yellow undies were showing through my opaque white pink tights. My pink tights.
I'm going to suggest maybe a different undergarment next time.
Next time I'll have black tights and black leotard. We'll just keep it all black and go commando. Okay, Heather, there were some exercises you wanted to talk about.
Okay, yeah. Exercises at the end of this chapter. Number 1, use the no-lose model. Consider some decisions you are now facing. Write down all the positive things that can happen by using either pathway, even if the outcome might not be what you picture. Number 2, learn the concept it doesn't really matter by starting with little decisions you face each day. As you ponder which suit to wear to the office, notice it doesn't really matter. Which restaurant to eat at, which movie to see, doesn't matter. Remind yourself so that you stop being needlessly obsessive. It doesn't matter. And stop wasting your energy on those types of things that don't matter. Number 3, put signs in your home and office that say, so what? I'll handle it. If things don't work out the way you want, so what? What's the big deal anyway? This reminder will help you lighten up about life as you learn you can handle whatever happens after you've made your decision. And number 4, look at clues in your life that suggest you are off course and begin making your game plan to correct the situation.
With the sign in your home and office, it made me think about, my mom, and when I first saw her in the hospital bed, and she was unconscious, and I shared this in episode 29, that, I said to her, we can do hard things. So I think that should be my motto. Like, I should put that up around the house. Like, we can do hard things.
So. I think you should. So, I like that one as well.
Okay, chapter 8, we didn't really have anything we wanted to... there were some things that, Heather and I had marked, but nothing that we want to discuss with you guys. So we're going to move straight into chapter 9. And I'm going to pick up from page 143. One of the most valuable lessons in learning to diminish fear is embodied in the phrase, say yes to your universe. It's simple. Whatever happens to you in life, just nod your head up and down instead of shaking it side to side. Just say yes instead of no. The term universe refers to that life plan that seems to take over despite what we have in mind. That force operating seemingly on its own that often interferes with our picture of how we would like things to be. It refers to a certain flow in our lives and the lives of others over which we have little or no control. So often when we are all set to move in a specific direction, an unexpected event changes everything. Those unexpected events, or even the possibility of the unexpected, sets us up for a great deal of fear. We anticipate the worst. It is important to remember, in saying yes lies the antidote to our fear. The phrase say yes means to agree to those things that life hands us. Saying yes means letting go of resistance and letting in the possibilities that our universe offers in new ways of seeing the world. It means to relax bodily and calmly survey the bodily?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, it means to relax bodily and calmly survey the situation, thereby reducing upset and anxiety. Conversely, saying no means to be the victim. Saying no means to block, to fight, to resist opportunities for growth and challenge. Saying no creates tension, exhausted, wasted expenditure of energy, and emotional upheaval. The truth of the matter is that saying yes is our only hope. There have been so many times where things have just kind of like plopped into my lap and I'm like, okay, thanks God.
Yeah.
Appreciate that nudge in the right direction. Have you ever had anything the opposite where you're ready to do something and it just stops you dead as in your tracks? Yeah.
I'm sure that has happened, but I have to make a note here that I really have a hard time when authors use in quotes the word universe. Mm-hmm. Rest assured, this is God, okay? And God is sovereign over our lives, which means he is in control, and where you are is exactly where you are supposed to be. So from a Christian standpoint, I have complete peace and comfort with everything that happens to me because I know that he's working it together for my good in his time, not my own. So I agree 100% with what she's saying. I am just
You just want to replace universe with God. And that's
really
fine.
Bothers me.
Sometimes I think I'm planning a little self-compassion retreat for those people in my self-love club for 2019. And there's one place I wanted to have it. And we kept trying to schedule an appointment and, the lady had to cancel on us and we rescheduled, and then something came up with my schedule and we had to reschedule, and then we rescheduled again because the lady was, and then my mom passed away next time. So the universe, God is telling me that is not the place for me because the doors keep closing. If it's that difficult to get a tour of a facility, that means I'm not supposed to be there.
Agreed.
I have completely accepted that.
Oh, good.
So, yes, thank you, God. Appreciate that.
Yeah, he's probably saving you from something.
Yes. So
don't
I'll take
force
it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really good. Okay, on page 148, she continues to talk about saying yes to everything that is happening. And I actually heard this recently. Someone said, what if life is happening for you, not to you? And I believe that. I believe that everything is happening for you, for your benefit, so not to you. But she goes on to say, your ability to cope effectively with the world around you corresponds to your ability to say yes to the universe, including the pain. Remember, acknowledgement of pain is very important, but denial is deadly. So some people will avoid, deny, and then it will manifest itself usually in health issues, typically. And when you get to the root of those health issues, it's because of some underlying issue that they are in denial about. So acknowledging the pain is very important. Now, that's very obvious in the case of someone passing. You love someone, you lose them. Obviously, you're going to acknowledge that pain. But there are other areas where it's not as obvious, I guess, where something is bothering you, so you just ignore it instead of acknowledging it.
So I shared, I think, was it the last episode, 2 episodes ago, about our fears and how I was fearful of having an unfulfilling marriage. I think part of me was trying to acknowledge this pain that I know is going to come out of this. if I don't work on this the
Right,
right way.
right.
So I can totally relate to that.
Oh,
And
good. Yeah.
it's
So
hard.
has there been a time where in your marriage you've been in denial of that fact?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't want to believe, like, oh, he's just struggling to adjust to
It'll be
married
okay.
life.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. We'll get through this. And then it wasn't. I could tell it was not happening. And then I was like, okay, he got better with the medicine adjustments, and then it came back again. And I was like, okay, now I have to figure out how I live with him. So yeah, there was a little bit of denial, and you don't want to face it because you're afraid of what comes next, because you're going to have to start to act.
Right.
And that is
That's
scary
it.
to people.
That's it. Yeah. You don't know what to do about it.
Okay, I'm going to pick up on page 152. Saying yes means getting up and acting on your belief that you can create meaning and purpose in whatever life hands you. It means channeling resources to find constructive, healthy ways to deal with adverse situations. It means acting out of strength, not weakness. It means having the flexibility necessary to survey many options and choose ones that enhance growth. It does not mean being destroyed. It means becoming alive to possibility. Well, I'm alive to possibility. I need all the possibility I can get right now.
I'm alive to possibility.
Thank you, Susan. I'm alive to possibility.
Well, she continues to say, I am finding value in everything that happens to me. Just let go. She said she has a poster from her daughter that says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Everyone's heard that. So you just need to say, I'm finding value in everything that happens to me with a smile on your face, even if it's through tears. She also says you need to ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this experience to a positive advantage? How can I learn to better myself as a result of this experience? So that's when you've been through something tough, that's like the next phase, which is, okay, how can I learn from this? And what can I do to turn this around? Obviously, depending on the event, will determine how quickly you can get to that phase, because obviously something that's like super severe is going to take longer for you to get to the point that says, how can I make myself better from this? And if it's something small, like, oh, I made a bad decision in my business or in a relationship, then usually you should be able to jump to that pretty quickly.
Right. I think about some struggles I've had in my business, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was just the wrong choice. I've learned which way to go.
Right.
And here's how I'm going to make it better going forward. When it comes to the death of my mother,
This is a different story.
I'm not anywhere near being able to find what is positive about this.
Well, that's because it's
And that's okay.
way too fresh.
You know, people say to you, like, oh, there's a reason and everything. And yeah, okay, there is. But that's not what you really want to hear. Like 2 months out, we're not even 2 months out, like a month and a half out from your mom's passing. And
I wouldn't use that phrase though, a reason. What I would say is something good will come of it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say there's a reason, because death and destruction and dying is it's just sucks. I mean, there's no other way around it. So I wouldn't say there's a reason. I would say you will find something good and positive from it. And knowing what I know about you, I know that you will. And I'm actually excited and anxious for you to get to that point. But I also understand
it'll be like 3 years from now.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, it's still too raw for me to
very
think
much.
about like what's positive here, because all I can see is just
The pain.
darkness and the sadness right now. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will.
together.
We will.
All right. So we're gonna wrap up our discussion today. So we have a strategy for you. Are you ready? We want you guys to write out a recent mistake that you made and what you learned from it. And why don't we take it further? The mistake that you made, was there another option that you had? And could you go back to that option at this point? So think about those decisions that you have, path A, path B, path C. And I mean, you never know what the outcome's going to be. So think about those mistakes, what you learned, and how you can go back and maybe try something different this time around.
And if it feels too heavy for you, maybe start with something that was simple and didn't have as much gravity to it, something that's a little bit easier to look at if you struggle with this.
Yeah.
And then once you start looking at those mistakes that are kind of not a big deal, then you can start looking at bigger decisions that, let's not even call them mistakes. I don't even like that write out a recent misstep.
Aren't you fancy? I'm sorry. I'm the writer in this duo. Thank you very much. I'll come up with other
Okay,
words.
you
No,
come up with
okay.
a word.
I'll
Okay.
come up with a different word for the
'Cause I don't like
for
the
the
word
show
mistake.
notes.
Okay.
Okay, because nothing's a mistake.
Okay, right.
That's right. Susan said that. Nothing. There's
Literally.
no mistakes. Well, I
just read
failed
it.
completely at this whole book discussion.
We just read that.
All right, Heather, can you tell everyone how they can support this awesome
Absolutely.
podcast?
First of all, use our Amazon affiliate link. If you purchase anything on Amazon, specifically the books we recommend, of course, just helps offset the cost. And make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and please, for the love of all that is holy, share with your friends. Tell your friends so that we can get this information to more people.
Yes, we want to reach as many people as possible. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on the Flourish Academy podcast.